it is almost like I'm coming back home to a certain extent. But tonight I am doing a live with you guys. It is for an event prep that I will be doing, right? So ultimately I have an event this weekend and I want to prep for it. All right. So the way that I'm going to prep for it, as you guys know, I will run down my thought process for what I'm going to do for the evening, as well as how I'm going to do it. Basically, just the whole setup, right? And ultimately, how I think about these things when I am in the process of doing them. All right. So as you guys can see right now, how I currently have my visual is I am in my living room. I might need to turn the TV off, but I am in my living room. Um, and technically, I wouldn't mind having my light behind me. I just gotta adjust the actual colors of it. But and I have my spotlight on me, right? But I kind of feel like I do want some type of light behind me. So let me see what that looks like first. Huh. Let's do it like this. And then Pokemon is on right now. And I wish I'm missing it. I am mad I am missing Pokemon, but I'll probably watch the video of it later. Okay. Let's do one of these. All right. Welcome. I kind of don't like how that looks. Let's do it like this. Maybe I should bring this to 100. How's that? How's that look? Looks like it's something. It's something. Hold on. Okay. Well, I figured this out. Maybe I just need to be closer to it this side. I think that's good. All right. So the concept for today. All right. So now, because my event is actually two sides, right? I am doing it's going to be photography as well as videography. All right. Safe to say that my video, my audio is working. All right. Okay. I have an event this weekend. It's actually on Saturday, and it is for a birthday party that I am going to be filming and capturing. Okay. What I'll be doing in this sense is it'll be me and my assistant. I'll be doing the photography, and my assistant will be doing the videography. Okay. Um, I'm gonna go over some things that I'll be taking care of when it comes to the actual filming portion. The time that I'll probably get there, the equipment that I'll have with me, um, what things that I'll the shot list that I'll actually will have with me as well, just to make sure that I am prepared. Okay. Now keep in mind, I don't usually use a shot list. Usually my list is up here. Usually in a place of saying, hey, I don't really need to have all of that, even though I need to have it. But I have been so accustomed to just having my shot list in my head that I don't always think about, hey, making sure that I have it available. I'm sorry, I'm just keep moving this because I want to make sure I'm actually lit. I don't ever actually just have it just available in my hands. So it is one of those things where I need to make sure I have that, not just for me, but for also for my assistant. Okay. So we're gonna talk about the equipment real quick, and then we're gonna talk about what I'm gonna bring and how I'm gonna get or how I'm when I get there, what I'll be doing. All right. So the idea for this particular event, right, because it is a birthday party, of course, I'll be using my camera, which is the T7 Rebel, all right, and I will be having this on me, on my person. I also will have my speed light. Now, I'm still trying to decide if I want to have my trigger so that way I can have my speed light be more versatile. Because right now, because this particular speed light, I am unable to actually have this to rotate. I take that back. How did I just find out that I can rotate my speed light? So never mind. I'm gonna use my speed light, okay? Because this whole time I didn't know I could do this because it was like difficult to turn it. So I think it's because I hadn't ever used it. So Godox, y'all be on it. Y'all be on it. So now make sure I am gonna use my speed light. And what I'll do is I'll attach it, not using the trigger. I'll attach it here, tighten that up. All right. So that's on there. Then now, whenever I am needing to shoot, I can obviously just adjust this accordingly. Hold on. Think at it the other way. There we go. Adjust this accordingly. So if I need to bring it down to capture, then I can do that. I shouldn't need to a whole lot. And if I want to keep it soft as far as the lighting, I could use my cardboard right here up top. Okay. So that's definitely an option for me as well. I'm really trying to decide why is it that when I put the light right there and it made me darker on this side. But I feel like what's going to end up happening is I'll need two of these, which is fine. I don't mind it. I know I need to. So, nonetheless, and then of course I'll be able to, if I need to, if I'm like capturing the image in this way, because sometimes this might not be the best as far as the angling. I can bring this up, turn it, and I can do that if I need to. Just many different ways. But the fact that I just realized that I can turn this speed light is crazy. That's a little sad. But we're here. So nonetheless, this is gonna be my setup. Okay. I'm gonna show you guys my assistant setup, who is gonna be my videographer for the evening. She will be using this. Okay. It's nothing too crazy. It is literally because we normally sometimes we use a gimbal, but we do have options. So she can use either this handheld stabilizer or she can use the gimbal. I personally am a gimbal person. I love being able to use a gimbal everywhere I can. Um, Slightly also because I do have carpal tunnel and a little bit of arthritis, so I try to use something that can kind of help me. And then there'll be moments where my hands might be shaky, so it kind of sucks if you're trying to be in the media and you have shaky hands. Like it's just counterintuitive, right? But we make it do what it do. So this could be her setup. She actually likes to set up for herself. And what you can do is you could just turn it on like so, as you guys can see. And then, of course, just go around and do what you need to do and film in that way, right? The biggest thing for me is just making sure that as she has it, that she always keeps this on at all times when she's filming. And like if she's like sitting down or probably just chilling or probably prepping or probably eating, then she can place it down in the meantime. But if she's filming, go ahead and turn that bad boy on. Go ahead and do what you need to do. Make sure that you are getting good lighting. Okay. So one thing that I want to make sure not just my assistant, but everybody that is a videographer, especially if you're a videographer, to ensure you have really great lighting. Because sometimes you might be in a setting and it might not be the best lighting, but you have to figure it out. Maybe your camera, you might be able to adjust your settings there, maybe boost up your ISO, maybe lower your aperture. You know what I mean? It could be a number of things. But ultimately, if you can add an extra light source, that'll be your best bet. That way, you know that you are having more control of your lighting and you're not having to boost your ISO too much, right? So you can kind of still keep that crispy look is what you want. All right. So be very mindful and aware of what you have. Because even with something like this, and yes, I get it, iPhones, even maybe some expensive Androids, you may not have to adjust lighting too much when you're outside, especially if you're using a phone gimbal or phone stabilizer, right? But for the most part, if you want to amplify it, if you want your subject to stand out from the environment that you're actually in, it's best to use an extra light source, right? Turn this on, right? Adjust it appropriately, right? Make sure obviously not in everybody's face in this way, but ensure that when you are filming, that the environment that you're filming looks very well lit, because I would rather you have it very well lit in pre-production and while producing the image versus it being afterwards. Now you got to fix it because it's too dark, right? I rather if it's too bright, You might be able to turn it down just a little bit, but even that, you can kind of see how you're filming it if it's too bright, right? You'll be able to tell and detect it so that you can adjust it accordingly. But ultimately, that's something that's very, very important. I thought I decided to let you guys know that just because I see a lot of people that kind of just take it as is and they don't add more light. And it's like, use your light, turn that light on. Okay. So that's that. Now when it comes to prepping for the actual event and venue. So my goal, which is normally something that I do when I have any type of event that I am running, I always go there an hour early. Why? Because I want to make sure that I am in place so I can set up my camera. I'm not rushing to set anything up right when the event is about to start. That is very unprofessional. I also want to make sure that when I am in place, I can start taking B-roll and BTS shots. These are the most important ones to me, on top of the fact of capturing the event itself. Because if I'm catching B-roll, I can have certain scenes that I can include in the recap. All right. And even if not for the recap itself, I can use it for content. My client can use it for content. Right. Same thing when it comes to BTSs. The PTSs, for the most part, are for me and my team. So that way people can see how I'm setting up, where I'm putting certain things at, what lighting I'm also needing, which I need to make sure that I asked the client that as well, just to see if I need to bring anything else. Um, but making sure those things are in place, um, and then I can get into a flow state. Once I'm in a flow state, I can just go and shoot and go and shoot, and it be a very smooth thing. Now, only thing I'm having to pay attention to are the highlighted moments, the moments when my client's walking in through the door. Make sure I am capturing that in a very cinematic way. Make sure that it makes them look really good. So when they look at the footage after the recap is completed, now they can say, "Oh my God, I look so good in this clip." That's my goal when it comes to me going to birthday events and filming them so that people can see themselves and be proud of what they look like and how it can turn in its entirety, right? Um, Not only that, she's gonna have a lot of people there at the event that's gonna also be taking pictures, or wanting to be shot more so. Then they'll have like a photo booth area, so that's where they're gonna probably bring a lot of people in from the front of the once they get into the building to then take them to the photo booth area where I'll be capturing a good amount of the people as well as the ambiance. So as there's a break in between the photo booth, I might go into outside of the photo booth area itself and just catch the people in their element. Okay, there you can catch the vibes, right? Typically, for the most part, anytime I do an event, I usually have people that I have. My clients usually have like a photo booth area of some sort. So that's something that they just love doing, and I want to make sure that I am available for that. All right. So usually, if you're at an event and haven't done a lot of birthday events like this, what you can do is make sure that, of course, they got their lighting already together. Sometimes they may already have the light situation situated, right? But you always want to make sure you know ahead of time. Then once you have the conversation with your client, you can decide from there. Okay, cool. Do I need to bring my own lighting? Do I need to prepare for that type of thing? Then you go into it as such, being very well prepared. Set up your lighting. Hence why I be there an hour early. Set up your lighting. Test out your lighting. Make sure that you are is looking the way that you want it to look. All right, especially if you have somebody you can coordinate with, whether you can have them come in and fill in as a model test subject, so that way you can make sure the capturing looks really good on your end, and that way you have a very well smooth evening. All right, it's like it's supposed to be the easiest thing. This is a time to have fun. Something else that I definitely will address when it comes to capturing events that involve a lot of people, especially when you have to interact with these people. A lot of times I have known, and I've actually been in a place to where I was nervous about getting people to smile for me to take a picture of them. It's easy for the client to say, "Hey, take a picture of me and such and such. Hey, take a picture of me and such and such," right? And other times, if you're not capturing the vibes of the room, it might be best for you in that moment to go ahead and decide, "Hey, do you guys want to go ahead and take a picture in this particular area? Or let me go ahead and take a picture of you now." So this is where you have to be very good with communicating. Okay. They're not being so closed off, not being so introverted to where it's kind of almost off putting to where they may hesitate to even be in front of your camera to take a picture. So this would be where you would utilize your voice, your presence, your camera, and say, "Hey, Would you like to take a picture for the birthday girl, right? Or do you want to take a picture with the birthday girl, right? So having that type of communication, that way people can say, okay, cool, I definitely would love to. That gives you more pictures that you can capture. That gives you more work that you can give to your client. That gives you more relatability when it comes to the people that are being captured through you, through the client. So it's a well-rounded environment, but it's all about on how you are coming into it. So normally when I go into these types of birthday events, I'm usually having a great time, right? I'm ready in there doing what I need to do. I ready to capture the main events. I'm ready to capture the key moments, right? And me and my assistant we're on a roll at this point. And then a lot of times by this point, you might be able they might offer you a plate of food to eat, right? So you can kind of chill. So this is another moment to where you can kind of take in the moment. People decide to speak to you, so you can still have those conversations with them if they decide. And then when it's the moment for you to go ahead and capture something that's important, because you have to always be prepared. You have to always be vigilant. Once you see that moment is getting ready to come, you say, "Hey, give me 1 second. I gotta go and capture this. We'll talk later," right? And you're gonna do your work. You're gonna do your job. Go ahead and be great, okay? And that way, when the client sees the photos, they're not feeling like you missed anything. When they see the videos, they're not feeling like you missed anything. Okay. So these are the things that I feel like it's okay for some things to overshoot. And then there's other times where when you're delivering it, that's when you determine how much actually you have to send because you don't want to overwhelm the client. So it's a variety of those things. So without further ado, well, I went over the whole setup. I'm gonna go ahead and start possibly doing some snapping some shots, showing you guys my settings, showing you guys exactly what it looks like, what I have to do to adjust certain things, right? And the camera itself, I can show you that as well. I will do the. I mean, as far as the video portion, I'll do that too because I do have another phone I could use. And then of course, when I do an edit of this video, because I still have to work on that when I do an edit of this video, I'll start showing you guys the actual video that I was capturing, right? So give me 1 second. All right. So we'll start off with the camera or with the videos. Okay. Now, usually if I'm recording, if I'm doing an event when I'm doing videography and it's just me, I'll use my camera. If my assistant was with me and it's an event that I have to do both photography and videography, she uses her phone, right? Her iPhone. This is why I say do not be against using your iPhone because of the fact that you can still make money off of it. All right. Clients aren't necessarily looking at your equipment for the most part. They're really looking to see if you can deliver. That's the biggest thing that they're trying to see. Can you deliver to them the results that they're looking for? So what I'm gonna do here, here we go. All right. So I had to turn this around. All right. Turn this around. So I had to. So here's the part that's going to get lit. All right. Once I turn this on, that's the part that's going to be lit up. Okay. Now, you don't want, obviously, you want this to be facing you. Okay. So that way, when people are being captured, the light obviously is going to be facing them. Sometimes you have to explain that. So then, of course, I paste the phone here. Okay. So now it looks like this. All right. And then, of course, camera is right here. That's turned on, just like so. And now if you can see the difference, right? So here I am in this lens, okay? Then if I turn this light on, you can see also what I look like in that shot, right? Let's record that real quick. I don't want zoom, I don't want flash on here, so turn that off, okay? So no light, okay? And light, okay? So you kind of get it now, okay? So that's why I say those things are important. So what I'm gonna do real quick is I'm going to show you guys a way that I could record my client. So there's a couple of ways that I've done this in the past. One of the main ways that I've done it that actually got me a lot of attention on TikTok, which is interesting, is I had a client who was coming down a corridor and it was like a hallway, okay, and she wanted that walk to be captured. Like I said, people really love entrances. They love to be able to give an entrance, and they want to be caught a certain type of way. So keep in mind, it's a one-time take. So you're not able to catch this more than once. You have to be able to be ready and be in place. So as I'm there, I was there for like over an hour already, kind of waiting. Everybody else already gathered. She wanted to make an entrance and really come on her own time. I said, all right, cool. So now she finally starts to show up. I hear people say, she about to come in, she about to come in. And I'm like, all right, bet. So I get in place. I see everybody else there, they got their cameras, their phones and stuff out and ready. And I'm like, I need to be right here. So instead of me asking, and they already see I get the camera, so I end up making my way in there. So that way, when I capture it, I'm not capturing everybody else's that's in front of the camera in front of me because I can't find my way to get inside. And instead, I'm trying to avoid being a problem. Think about this. People are paying you to almost be annoying to capture them in a certain type of way. And if you're trying to be mindful of the people that are there who are also want to get their own images and videos, you're not doing your client a good service. You're actually doing them a disservice. So it's okay in these moments to go ahead and be in the way. Something that we normally pay attention to or we have to do as videographers or photographers, sometimes we just have to be in a way. We got to be in a way to get the shot. If I can't get the shot, what am I being paid for? What am I here for? You know what I'm saying? And you once you get okay with that, oh, you're making so many different moves in the sense that now people have no issues with you being where you are because they know you're going to do great work. Okay. So with that being stated, I'm going to show you one way that I did her entrance walk, which was basically I had a separate light and I had my camera actually. I had this camera. I had this camera on the gimbal. I had, oh man, I had my other light. I'm gonna show that to you real quick. And I'll actually show you guys the video of that too. I'll make a recap of this and I'll show the video of it. So I had this extra light source. I got lighting for everything. Okay. This extra light source, and I had this camera on the gimbal, and I was just walking like this, just like this. And I walked up close to her, enough to her to where I could see her in my camera viewfinder and or camera view. Then once I got up to her, I made sure I turned my lighting to face directly on her. It was no countdown. This was a me being in place and move accordingly. As soon as she saw that I was up on her, now I can back up slowly, making sure that she's taking each step, capturing each move, all the way until she left the hallway. Ever since that was it. That's all she wrote. That was it. But again, is make sure you're being there at the right place at the right time. All right. Some other times you might not have all that. You might have this, and that is perfectly fine. So in that case, what I would do is I would turn my camera on, start recording, turn my light on because I want to make sure I get that lighting. Okay. Then once you know you have the lighting and everything else is straight, I'm trying to move this down some. Okay, cool. The top of this was kind of recording. I didn't like that. All right, so then what you can do is you can actually come up on your client, move in towards their face, and maybe zoom out. That's one option. Another thing you can do, which is what I want to do for Saturday, is I'm actually, if you think about this as the client, all right. So say this is my client, okay. So what I could do is I can come up here, I can wrap around, get them in the face, then go all the way around, still get their facial expressions, come out, get a full body shot, and boom. That's another thing that you can do. Okay. And none of these are better than the other. Some just work. And in some, they just are what they are. So it's all based on what you feel like would make sense and how you show it. Okay. So I don't want you to feel like I gotta do this way, I gotta do this way. No, you can do any one of those ways as long as you got the space and the opportunity to make it happen. But you have to be able to foresee where you at, how you can move to make this thing happen as well. Okay. So you're not feeling as if you're restricted or anything like that. Nothing you're doing is wrong. It's all about what you see and how you can make it pop and how you can make it look really good. You saw how I kept my light on? That's also, I mean, it's very, very important to have that light on, especially if you have a one focus point. That's the only thing, the only person right here, for example, that needs to be shot, that needs to be seen in that light. If you're lighting everything else, how do you separate that person from their background? How do you separate that person from their environment? Right? So, example, prime example. I am here right in front of this light. If I decide to be back here, I'm with everything else. Okay. But once I step into this light, I stand out compared to my background. Okay. So these are the little things that make a difference when it comes to capturing anything, whenever it's photos or videos, comes to capturing in general, making sure that you can separate your subject from your background. Okay. So that's that. Then for the photo aspect. Now, I know a lot of them might be like, well, why you just can't use the automatic? I don't use automatic for nothing. I've only used automatic in the past a couple of times. I'm not completely against my automatic priority, but I don't like to have to rely on it. Mostly because of the lighting. The lighting is harsh on the automatic settings. So I don't like how it looks for me. I gotta do way too much editing in post. So I'd rather be able to control the lighting. If I can't have um my strobe light, if I can't have that, then I will use my speed light, right? And typically, mind you, the speed light and the strobe light, they're usually using the same thing. So I'm using this in my other lighting. So if I have like it's usually gonna be something like this, all right? A wider softbox, but if put in a softbox, I attach my actual speed light into it. That's gonna be perfect enough for me. I don't really need a whole lot. And then have my trigger attached to this, I'm good to go. But for this particular event, I'll connect this, I'll lock this in. Okay. So now it can't go nowhere. All right. I'll turn this on and I keep it on manual. Manual for me, I love manual as my best friend. I could do anything with the manual. I can literally manipulate any type of image because I have this set on manual. So I personally love it because of that. This is so crazy. So I'm definitely gonna have to make sure I get two of these lights. But um, so because of that, I make sure that I keep it on manual. So right now, it is I currently have my kit lens on here, which is not bad. I have my kit lens on here. You can have your prime lens if you decide to, but I'm thinking about me being in a room where I may have to zoom in and zoom out. I'm in a room that's not necessarily one particular size. I'm going to be moving around a lot, so I want to make sure that I have flexibility to be able to go in on the image or to zoom out on the image. Right? As much as it'd be great to keep it the other way, but I have to be mindful of that. So, with that being stated, I'll turn on my speed light. As you can see, it is my current settings for my speed light. Okay. And that lets me know that it's ready to go. Okay. And then from there, I can do a test shot just to see what it look like. Pretty sure I already know what it's going to do, but all right. Now, this image is already showing up pretty dark. So that already lets me know, first of all, my shutter speed is at 1/125, which is not bad because it's pretty good when it comes to people moving around. But I do got my flash, so that's gonna freeze them, regardless of if my shutter speed is high or not. Okay. Now, obviously, if it's somebody that's moving pretty fast, it's like activity, a sport activity, the higher my shutter speed is, the better it will freeze that particular movement as well. Right. So there's also that. I'm also gonna look at my ISO is at 400. 400 is not bad. I actually prefer it to be like a low number again to prevent the grain. My aperture is at 5.6. Now that might be able to be adjusted, but I got to think about the fact that I am using a kit lens. I might not be able to go too low. So as low as I can go as of right now, if I open this all the way up, as low as I can go is 5.6, and I could even go in some more to make it go down to a 4.0. 3.5, 3.5, right? And that's if I'm like all the way out. Again, it's not bad, but it all depends on how much I need to adjust. So I'm gonna try take a picture just like this again, and to keep in mind of where this is pointing to, right? So take another shot, looks like this. It got a little brighter because I moved it down, my aperture down to 3.5, all right, which is cool, but now I'm just like, but it's still dark. And why is it dark? So keep in mind, again, this is pointing to my ceiling. I do have a white ceiling, so it's supposed to bounce, but I'm also thinking about where is it bouncing to because I don't have an actual model in front of me, right? So if you're just trying to capture just shots without actually people in the shots, you have to think about that as well of how you want that to be. So this is where I may have to bring out my white card for one, or just bend it straight on. Okay. Especially if I don't have somebody here I can actually utilize. So let's try the white card up first. Okay. All right. That made it stand out even more. Let me try something on this side. That definitely made it bright. So again, pay attention to the fact that I got this light here too. That can also distort it a little bit. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll make sure I want to make sure that my autofocus is on. Manual focus is on currently, but switch to the autofocus. All right, once that's good, now I have everything in focus. So this is to be an image, a look at what that looks like. Now, if I go back, this is when it was blurry. This is sharper. Okay. And that's the very first picture that I shot. Don't worry about that. That's the very first picture that I shot. Um, come on. And as I keep shooting, it gets brighter and brighter. Okay. So that lets you know that. Now, I will touch on something real quick. So I know some people have brought up and talked about in their videos uh, exposing exposing before the flash or something like that, or like setting up for the background, right? Exposing for the background. Now, right now, my flash is set to 1/64. The lower you go to like 1/8, 1/4, one whole, it's gonna get brighter and brighter and brighter on this thing. Okay. So right now I'll leave it at 1/64 just because I'm just playing around with stuff in here. So I don't really need it to be extra bright. Okay. But I know if I wanted to, I can. Okay. And again, it could be either I use my white card, I can put that down, or just flash it directly on you. You know what I mean? And I can do a bunch of different things with it. Obviously, I can turn this around now that I know. All right. And then again, I can even bounce it off my white wall. I don't always bank on the wall, on the ceiling, by the way. Sometimes bouncing off the ceiling is not always giving you the best. So if you have a white card you can bounce it off of, that's actually connected to your speed light, I think that would be best. But that's just me. Okay. So with that being stated, um, when it comes to the capturing, the exposing for your background, right? And this is where, say for example, okay, I have this as my background currently, okay. So if I'm taking a picture of myself, right, and normally I do, just not doing it in this session, but if I'm taking a picture of myself, I may want to keep these lights here, right? So meaning what's going to happen is I'm going to turn off my flash, turn off my external flash, and I'm going to only see how I can capture this light right here. All right. So just to test that out, I'm gonna with the current settings that I currently have, I'm gonna see if it'll let me do it just like this. Okay. And in actuality, it did it without me not having to adjust anything. Okay. And now what would have to happen is I would have to set it up, right? Set it up to where if I am doing like a self-portrait situation, and that's if I have to bring my if I can bring it up real quick. Let's see. I am looking for It should be in here somewhere. All right, cool. So I'm about to put up my tripod. Okay, so here is my tripod. I'm going to set up real quick. Do I want it all the way open? Probably. All right. And then this is where I want this at. I think, am I using the right thing? Or is it the other one? It's the other one. So this is the one I'm actually looking for. So I'll place this here, but I'll connect the camera first. And then we're going to try to take a shot. And the goal is, in this case, is to be able to hold on, where you at? I've never had this many issues with this. Hold on. It's not the right one. Jay. All right. Hang it back to this again now. So this would be this one. All right, hold on. 2 tripods, by the way. 2 of them. Okay. Let's try this again. All right. Boom. Okay, we want to turn that this way. This way. All right, cool. Now what we're gonna do is do a timer. I'm gonna do a self timer for 10 seconds. And the goal is to try to capture me now with the flash on. Okay, now I can decide if I want to keep the white card up or not. All right, and we're gonna test that out. And this one doesn't have to be, I don't think it's, I'll probably stand right here. I gotta set this up to be, okay? So let's do that way. Okay. Again, mind you, this is without me having the softbox. Okay. Now, if you zoom in on this, you can see it lit me up and the background up. So that's what they mean when they say exposure for the background, right? That way my background is not removed. I already had set this up before added the flash. Now, once I add the flash, that's when I myself can be actually lit up. Versus if I did the flash, everything first, now of course I'm gonna be blending in with the background, but you can still see the background color. Okay. So that's just an idea. They talk about it all the time. It's like, let's do it. Let's do it ultimately. All right. All right, y'all. So that's pretty much it. That's not a whole lot tonight. Um, but I'm definitely gonna be using this camera. I'm gonna show you guys ultimately what I do when I get there. I'll be capturing BTSs most of the time. That I'll be there, just so that way I can have more footage to bring you guys, so you guys can see. If you are not already on my Patreon, please go there. I am going to be, and actually have been, uploading videos on how I do certain things when it comes to editing videos, when it comes to editing pictures. Now I'm also gonna start adding in more things in there about how to do the business side. I feel like I added a video there about setting up contracts and invoices. But if you haven't checked those out, please go do so. They're gonna be on my Patreon. I will put the link in under this video once I publish it, but it is also on my YouTube channel. Okay, so make sure that you go to the channel itself, click on those links. Instagram, you're gonna see a bunch of stuff, and you're also gonna see my Patreon. It is currently free, so just get on there, get on the behind the scenes if you really want to see more in depth of things of what I do, how I do it, and why I do it. And as always, I appreciate everybody that comes by and stops by. Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate that. And I will touch back again. Actually, we'll get back into doing these again every Thursday. Every Thursday, I'll be here. If you have any requests, if you some things you want to look at, please let me know, and I will be sure to do that with you guys here. Thank you guys, and I will check you guys out later. Y'all have a great weekend.